same time and juggle. We've just gone live. So
women, all women can multitask. Men can't multitask.
I don't know about that. But I'm not anti-men, but some men can. Some men have maternal feeling and they can be better, parents. But then women are made with that kind of substance. They are built in to be CEOs without being paid.
Okay, so I would like to just say that we've just gone live on Facebook, and today is the 29th of July, and I would like to say a warm good evening to all my friends, followers, and inspiring Indian women around the world that look at our broadcasts over the last 2 years. We at Inspiring Indian Women, I feel, have an uphill task to bring stories of brave, powerful women around the globe, from the UK, from India, from Pakistan, from most South Asian countries to you, so that you will find the strength from them to follow your dreams and inspire yourself to do things that on a normal circumstance you wouldn't. Today we have two wonderful women with us. I don't know them personally, and that's why I feel privileged that I meet such powerful women through our weekly broadcasts for IIW. What we've been trying to do this month, I hopefully this year, is talk about women's power and empowerment of women globally. We have a feminist with us, and I will talk to her about her views on that. We have a life coach with us. I will talk to her about her journey and what makes her inspired to do this as a service to humanity. But before I do that, and I introduce our beautiful guest, I would like to read something my mother sent to me the other day. I danced on Facebook after a long time, and one of the dances I did was not my usual style. So I got some feedback, and they said, "Oh, no, 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 how could you do this?" So my mother said, "Look, I'm extremely proud of you, and I don't think you should think twice about it." So she sent me Gulzar Saab's beautiful poetry, and I would like to start today's broadcast by reading this poem to you. आप इसको शायरी कह लो, आप इसको पोइट्री कह लो, आप उसको एक कलाम कह लो, जो भी है, उसका जो मकसद है आपके दिल तक पहुंचे, तो वो मेरे लिए बहुत खास है। गुलजार साहब ने कितनी खूबसूरती से बता दिया है कि जिंदगी क्या है। कभी तानों में कटेगी, कभी तारीफों में, ये जिंदगी है यारो, पल पल घटेगी। पाने को कुछ नहीं, ले जाने को कुछ नहीं, फिर भी क्यों चिंता करते हो, इससे सिर्फ खूबसूरती घटेगी। ये जिंदगी है यारो, पल पल घटेगी। बार बार रफू करता रहता हूँ जिंदगी की जेब, कमबख्त फिर भी निकल जाते हैं खुशियों के कुछ लम्हे। जिंदगी में सारा झगड़ा ही ख्वाहिशों का है, ना तो किसी को गम चाहिए, ना तो किसी को कम चाहिए। खटखटाते रहिए दरवाजा एक दूसरे के मन का, मुलाकातें ना सही, आहटें आती रहनी चाहिए। उड़ जाएंगे एक दिन तस्वीर से रंगों की तरह, हम वक्त की टहनी पर बैठे हैं परिंदों की तरह। बोली बता देती है इंसान कैसा है, बहस बता देती है ज्ञान कैसा है, घमंड बता देता है पैसा कितना है, संस्कार बता देता है परिवार कैसा है। नाराज है जिंदगी, ना नाराज है जिंदगी, बस जो है वो आज है जिंदगी। जीवन की किताबों पर बेशक नया कवर चढ़ाइए, पर बिखरे पन्नों को पहले प्यार से चिपकाइए। तो इन पन्नों को आज थोड़ा समेटते हुए आपके साथ I am going to bring two beautiful women. The first guest is ALAMARA AWAN. She is a life coach, a CEO of ZABARDAST, also a wonderful supporter of Butterflies Welfare Charity. She supports various groups. She's an ambassador of 7 charities. And there's so much to ask her about her background, where she comes from, and what inspires her. Welcome, Almara ji.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, how are you?
We're all wonderful. I'm going to start our conversation once I introduce our second guest. And our second guest today is JYOTIRMAYA THAKUR. She's the author of 40 books. She's the first Indian origin woman who was the vice president of the Parliament of World Union of Writers. There's so much about her accomplishments, such as she's the first Indian poet to be published by the RVAW. She's termed as a woman of essence, and I'm going to ask her all of these questions because there's so much about her in her write-up. The fact that she's a research scholar, that she's a short story writer, she's a poetess. She's also done an anthology on the world contemporary English poets. So with this in mind, I'm going to start first by welcoming you. Namaskar and welcome to IIW's Women of Substance. Great. So I'm going to start with Almara. Almara ji, tell us about life coaching. I know that in this particular phase where we're all going through tremendous ups and downs, we could be depressed, we could be at a point where our career is taking a break. How do you bring a positive influence to women and men that need it?
Okay, I think a lot of, as you know, my background's in teaching. I'm a teacher assessor by profession, and a lot of, while I've been assessing people, you know, you tend to learn quite a lot, and you know, obviously I'm in the process of writing my own book about my life experiences. Having spent a lot of time in and out of hospital, dealing with people, teaching and assessing, I made a decision to be a life coach, and really it's more like a role model. I think, you know, if you can be the change that you want to see, be able to relate to people and go to their level. For example, I'm able to relate to people that have had health issues, and teaching issues, you know, and having dealt with, I mean, my groups are like, we have altogether nearly 3,000 women. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's learning from their experiences, and that's sort of helped me be alive. Being alive, I don't think it's what people make it out to be. You know, oh, you set an example, you're teaching them how to live. You're actually recognizing how they live and letting them reflect on what's right and wrong themselves.
Yeah.
So if you can.
So I actually met someone day before yesterday who also referred to this profession, which is a very noble profession where you help people find a better way of living. And I think that is tremendous. I would like to talk to you a bit more about the lovely charities that you support and are an ambassador of. It would be nice for you to talk to me about those charities. But before we do that, I would like to ask JYOTIRMAYA ji, what does poetry mean to you and why do you write?
That's a very good question. Many people have asked me. You know what? I never knew I would be a poet. I was always writing stories. I was a great storyteller, being a teacher myself. I started my career as a teacher.
Yeah.
Not as a teacher, as a coordinator in the Indian High Commission, actually, in the shipping department, while I was a part-time student in Birkbeck College doing my MPhil. But then gradually, after doing that and having children, I think the teacher part was the best thing because I could go with my children to school and so on. So when you ask poetry, I loved reading poetry, reciting poetry, even as a student. And I loved many of them. Naturally, Wordsworth, Milton, they all came. You know, I used to read Shakespeare. And I loved teaching poetry as a creative writing. And somehow I got hooked to it.
Not everyone do they? I mean, poetry is a gift. It's a talent.
It's a gift. Yeah, it's a natural gift.
It's amazing.
Yes. And for me, there are few things that I have to tell you. Poetry expresses very naturally all kinds of feelings. There is nothing in the world that it cannot express. The moment you are touched, your emotions and feelings take a story, take up the observation, and you suddenly become, a divine person trying to do so. Secondly, I found it very therapeutic. It was a therapy for me. My sorrow would turn into hope, into faith, as if divine intervention was taking place and I could see beauty around. Suddenly, my despair, my sad moments would turn into words, and once I wrote them, my trouble was over. Trying to counsel myself and trying to control my emotions in those times, writing them made it disappear. There are so many, you are able to connect to nature, you're able to connect to life. And I think writing to myself, counseling myself in poetry gave hope to me. So basically for me, it was like a kind of tranquil words, a solitude, and a very melodious, truthful and imaginative, and very unmindful to the surroundings that I was actual surroundings. It became like an asylum, a heaven I had created of words. And of course, being a classic teacher, I started in ribs, but now I write free verse, prose verses, and got connected to poets, which all encouraged me more.
So as a mother of young children who have done some of it in school, but I sometimes feel as if that I cannot convince the younger generation who is into instant gratification with Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and all sorts of gadgets. I find that children don't read as much. I remember that when we were in school studying Wordsworth, Byron, William Blake, these kind of amazing authors was a part of our curriculum. And we had to learn these poems, interpret them, get a meaning to them, and make sure that we could understand it. I mean, I would ask you this, for instance, I have always been inspired by Rudyard Kipling's If. And my sister always tells to my son, you're at this juncture of 17 years old, and if you read If about 10 times, you will get meaning. What is your view? And Alamara, I will ask you as well. When you inspire women to do what their full potential is, how do you actually reach for the true meaning of maybe a poetry or maybe a sentiment to inspire them? So I'll start with Jyotirmaya ji, and then Alamara, I'd like you to tell me your journey and how you've come to this point.
Well, you know what? I'll start with the very origin of the word poetry. The specific term for literary work as exemplary of all other art, where poet is figure for all artists. The word poem is from Greek poiein, and it means to make. It's a generic term for any kind of literary or creative work. So actually, you will, if you know, even our own scriptures, the Vedas, the first one, they all started with poetry. So sometimes we say that the world started with poetry and maybe it will end with one.
But how do you connect? So are you able to connect what you do with the younger generation, or you mainly deal with yes?
My own son writes a lot of therapy books. He writes that. The elder one both are scientists. One is a computer scientist, and the other one is actually senior faculty in fiber optics in the computer and electronics department. And both of them have literary gifts because of me reading to them. You have to read. You have to show them in very little words, few words, how the poet has been able to, in a way, in a capsule, put in all the vitamins like we give when they go to space. We don't give them food. So poetry is a very condensed form of literature. Now, with my grandchild, she is there, she recites, and even the girls have more. Both my granddaughters have picked up somehow, because language ability, if you have to have words, number one, You have to have deep feelings. Number 3, you have to have observation. You have to have empathy and compassion. Unless you understand and accept the feeling and emotions that you have, you cannot observe or write them. It's very scientific. People say it's not, but it is.
Okay.
Because you have to be very observant. And they have picked up. And my granddaughters have picked up. With my grandsons, I have a little difficulty because they find it boring.
Okay, so with that in mind, Almara, I'm going to ask you this question. You said you work with, in your bio, there's a lot of information about the charities you work with. Taking a few pointers from what Jyotirmaya ji said, how do you empathize? How does your inner being help you to work with all these different charities? And when did you start and where are you originally from?
Okay, I'm originally from Manchester. My group started as just like a kitty group, a small ladies kitty group, and it grew into a charity. Now we chose this. It's called ZABARDASTBUTTERFLIES. And you can ask me why. I looked at my women, I seen them as small caterpillars that blossomed into butterflies, and they're all unique and different in their own way. And the things they've accomplished, I mean, I just need all day to go. You know, I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of what they've become, where they come from. With regards, you know, we've done quite a lot of work in the community, working with various different charities, and our group was supporting Muslim Aid, cancer research. We did various different events to support them, and I just decided one day that, you know, it was nice to support other charities, but it would be nice to have our own and to have a main goal. So that's why Zabardast Butterflies was set up. Initially, it was to help just women focusing on and getting their lives, empowering them, helping them find themselves, and improve their confidence. And we were just a general support group, but now we're helping children. We're and basically making a difference to the community.
And do you have to generate your own funding, or do you get support from?
Yes, we do. We're not government funded. It is funded strictly by the ladies, and we do have a few well-wishers and ambassadors all over the world, in fact, that support us. And that help us to do our small projects. One of the focuses at the moment is education. So we're sort of coming away and trying to get ladies to learn basic skills to improve their lives. For example, we're starting sewing classes, IT classes, because everything, as you mentioned earlier, is going IT based. And I think a lot of our ladies who are in the home environment are getting lost. And, you know, I mean, me, myself, I mean, I am an IT teacher, you know, as you know, I've worked at various different colleges and I'm a teacher assessor. So I go into colleges and universities and assess teachers. So coming from that background, I realized that IT is now being implemented in most of the curriculum. And going back to what Jyoti was saying, and you were saying, how do we engage, you know, our younger youth into poetry and things? I mean, I found that I really introduced my children to literacy and poetry at a very young age, but I taught them in a different way. I made them realize that poems were quite ambiguous and that they can mean different things to different people. So it's not structured, it's structured as how you interpret things. And you know, that sort of engaged my children's mind. But I mean, with the ladies and literacy, you know, I've taught literacy and English and taught ESOL students, and you'll be quite surprised at how people will interpret a poem differently. So it's that recognizing that, and also how you can go back to a poem. I mean, I don't know about you, Jyoti, or you know, but I've gone back to Wordsworth, for example, and I see the poem slightly different now than when I did as a teenager.
Yeah, I agree with you. Every time you read it, you'll see a deeper meaning. It's like when a good film. When you see it the first time, you might not get all the messages that the writer and the storyteller is setting out till you see it a few times and you actually understand the deep hidden agenda. As a woman,
just giving an example, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, what fantastic film! But every time I watch it from a different perspective. First, as a teenager, you know, this is fantastic music. Second, as a daughter. Second, as a daughter-in-law. At one point, you know, there's so many different phases in life, and it's important that we understand and that we're able to listen to how people interpret things. I think that's one of my skills and why I actually started to be a life coach, because I really loved listening. I loved being you know, the empathy of understanding. I mean, as you know, I had a very serious car accident, which left me almost paralyzed. I was told I was never going to walk again. I spent a long time in hospital, and, you know, it was a frightening experience, but it made me a better person. It gave me more empathy, more understanding. And so that's why I went on from teaching to life coach to now CEO for ZABARDAST Butterflies. My passion in life is to enrich other people's lives. Nothing makes me more happy than seeing my ladies smile.
I think with that message, I'm going to ask everybody who's there, and I want Rashmi to have a perspective as well, because normally I have my guests and I always generally just talk to them, and but this topic is very, very significant, and our message out there should be very clear. And when we work with all these women that come from different backgrounds, how has each one of you, and I would like Renu Sharma ji, Pushpa ji, Manju ji, everybody who's here and who's taken the time to listen to Alamara ji and Jyotirmaya ji to even contribute to some extent. So we'll start with Jyotirmaya ji. When we talk about being a woman and being a feminist, I have a 14-year-old who is constantly telling me, you can't do that. This is very sexist. She has very strong gender equality beliefs. I come from a slightly traditional background, and I said, well, some things I do and something daddy does, but she doesn't get it. So how do you deal with feminism in a positive light?
Feminism is about, there are two words. Feminism basically was started with the white women, and then it became by the French Bourdieu, she said, the second sex. And she wrote about the empowerment of the second sex, because we are half the humanity. And if half the humanity is not empowered, the family will not be able to progress as much as it should, because mostly children are with mothers. And if women and mothers do not have that education and give them that equality, the world will not change.
I'll stop you for a second. Before I want you to explain the word empower.
Empower is basically in two terms. Number one, to understand their dignity and place in the world. Number two, you cannot be empowered unless you are financially independent.
Really?
Now, yes, you have to be in this modern world. Normally people say being a wife, it's fine. But then you are always dependent on the husband. You see, we have been brought up, my generation, that the best thing for you, it would be to marry a rich man. My mother simply did not do it. She had 4 daughters, she educated all of them. And she said, empowerment is not about depending on others. First thing is, be self-reliant. Your self-esteem will rise, and for that, you have to be financially independent. Now, education is one way. There is a niece who was not able to educate herself because she got married very early and her family did not educate her. She is now a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. So you have to be in some way or the other. So this was locked up for a while. This was locked up for a while because despite being financially independent in our generation, still we were dependent on men to buy the house. Their job is to provide us. Now, that is not real empowerment. If you want real equality, you have to have respect for men. They will help you along. They only respect women who have that kind of essence They don't respect every woman. You know, just being a feminist isn't going to make you. That's just like taking up a stick and shouting slogans. See, India, there's a difference. India did not have to fight for the rights of women. They got it. The right of a woman was given with Mahatma Gandhi when they fought for independence, and they got it. They did not go for suffragette movement. They got it very naturally because they fought for the independence with Gandhi, Kasturba, and so on. So many ladies were there who were representing India on a very high level. Now this is empowerment. Sarojini Naidu, they were all educated. They came from very good, Princess Amrita Singh.
So what you're saying is the true meaning of empowerment and feminism, sort of its root would be that you have to be financially independent and educated to be able to be empowered to some extent. Almara, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, for me, feminism isn't about, you know, I'm not a feminist in 100%. I wouldn't. I've not taught my daughter that, you know, you're competing against a male. There's things males do better, and there's things we do better. There's no competition. We were made for different things. So that's one thing I want to clarify. I'm not one of these women who goes around shouting slogans, women in power, we can do, a man can do. Sorry, no, I don't agree with that. You know, we're all made to do different things. What I do want to say is, though, yes, I agree to some extent that financial stability is important, but I think education is the key. You know, you educate a woman, you educate a nation. That woman goes forward to be a mother, a wife, you know, a strong daughter, you know, a pillar of society. Hopefully, you educate her correctly, and she'll find her own way. She'll find her own power. I've worked in various different councils, as you know, competing against some very high, you know, very strong men, and you know, but I found to strike a balance, and what that and the way I did that was to gain the key word, which is respect.
Yes.
You know, and that takes time. To get respect takes a long time. You can get it, you know, it takes a long time to get respect, and you can lose it within minutes. It's really important for women to get their respect, to understand their own self-value. And that's what I teach my women. I don't tell them and dictate how they should be, could be, want to be. Identify what their assets are, but let them see, let them reflect, let them find the time to reflect what they really are and what they're capable of.
Rashmi, what's your view? Unmute yourself, unmute.
Okay, let me add myself to the spotlight. Yeah. Oh, yes.
At the House of Parliament holding each other's hands on various occasions. And, you know, it's been a pleasure. You know, if anybody in this time, I just want to say that, you know, has managed to gain my respect, you have. You've stood by me through all different times, and we're from different, you know, different cultures, we're from different religions, but you've always showed me the utmost respect, and sincerely from the heart, I do respect you as a woman, as a role model. So yeah, sorry, Rashmi, your turn.
No, and I share the same sentiments for you, Alamara. I know you have, I follow you, and we've met a couple of times, and I have the same feelings for you. For me, like, you know, I believe and agree to both of you: education, financial independence, self-reliance, everything. But at the same time, the choice of taking decisions yourself, you know, not taking permission, not asking someone, not going to somebody, okay, I will ask, or, you know, you can inform, but if you have the right to choose, make a choice, and stand for yourself, your belief, and what you think is right, that is real empowerment, rather than going according to somebody else's view. And if somebody else tells you to stop and don't go ahead, and your heart says you must, and if you still follow your heart, you are empowered. So that's what for me is empowerment.
Yes, that is beautifully said in different ways. And I think Renuji, if you want to add something, or Pushpaji, feel free to share briefly your thoughts on what Jyotirmaya ji and Almara ji has been sharing with you in terms of their view on women's rights and empowerment.
Thank you. Can I come in? Thank you for inviting me for my input. Actually, I agree with both Almara and as well as Jyotirmaya ji. They have said very the facts, like, of course, the financial independence as well as education are make you empowered, actually. But I agree with Rashmi ji saying, of course, we must be able to make our own decision. And decision making is where your power lies. But moreover, God has gifted us with the different attributes, like the strength to men, and of course, patience to bear children, to bear all the tolerance and everything that with the women. So I mean, God has given us different kind of attributes. Keeping those in my mind, of course, I think we should draw a line in between these two things. That's what I think.
Totally.
So Jyotirmaya ji, you've obviously taught a lot of people. You've lectured, you've written short stories. In your short stories that you've written, you said you've been inspired to write from people from different backgrounds. Give us a couple of instances where you were shocked, you were awestruck, and you were disappointed. You don't, obviously, I don't want names, but I just want you to share a few instances where you can tell us how life you have observed and what you've learned.
Well, I'll start with one which was very shocking to me. Last time when I had gone, I went to various places. Of course, to the widow, Mathura widow, Gokul Dham. I went to Vrindavan, I had gone. I also went to Assam. I went for a religious purpose, but in my hotel, after returning, on the way from the temple, I was given a lift with my niece. And the daughter narrated the tale of her mother, how that innocent, gullible person was cheated by the tenant she had kept. There was a very young tenant they had kept who had started working in a private firm. And she, like a mother, because she was young, she used to cook for her like a paying guest. And gradually that woman hooked her husband, the father of the girl who narrated to me. And she told me to write the story. I was shocked because that girl was of a little older than her daughter. And because she thought she already had a husband in some other city, and she gradually befooled the lady of the house, and the lady had to move out of the house, literally thrown out by the husband, when the daughter went to the hospital. So that really made me very unhappy, and I wrote one at the request of the daughter, because the daughter fought with the father, but that was by that time it was too late. And that house was given to her as a hereditary, and the husband had cheated her by taking a signature from her without telling her.
So what is the book called?
The second was of a very old woman, very dignified lady I met on the flight. And she was going from UP, from some place to Delhi, to the I think Supreme Court. She had fought her case through for the last 15 years. After being a widow, all the property, she had 4 houses earned by her husband. The children had cheated her out, although they were they were affluent. One of them was settled in USA, and they had in a way tricked her to sell 2 houses. That was fine because that was given to the children. They also, by her signature, taking the power of attorney, had sold the house in which she was living.
And where is she now?
She was homeless. She went on to the DM. She went to I know the lady, actually then the DM of Jharkhand was the lady, and she was very, very sympathetic. But even she could not do anything, but because the power of attorney was given. See,
So
here comes lack of education.
So these stories, what are they written in? Like, what is the book called?
It is not a book. It was written for the magazine, Bree Swamini. It's mostly women-related stories, because if I write, I will compile it and write a whole book. It's coming, Grey Skies. It's coming. But first of all, I wanted the story right away to go to the public.
So thank you for sharing that. Almara, you in your activities with women from different backgrounds, obviously
over the few years, it's really quite scary. You know, when you think to yourself that nothing else can shock you, there's always something in the corner. I mean, not just working with women. I think for me this year, a good eye-opener has been, you know, we've worked with a lot of women on the domestic violence front, and we also did quite a few courses linked with the Slough women. Now, one of my scary reality checks had to be this year that domestic violence is quite strong with it among men. There are a lot of men that are women that don't realize they're being bullied, and you know, there are a lot of men who are victims of domestic violence and are bullied. That for me was quite alarming, because it was something I'd never touched on or even thought about. So yeah, for me, that and as you know, I've traveled all over the world. I've received awards in various different countries: India, Pakistan. India was amazing. You know, I worked with Mother Teresa there, and a charity called Mother Teresa, and it was absolutely heartbreaking seeing the children. You know, I'm a very emotional person, as Rashmi knows. So for me, you know, just the circumstances in which they're left. I mean, we're really, really lucky. I think we don't realize just how lucky we are as a nation living in the UK. I mean, we are able to access. I mean, it's not just education. It's about having the community trust. It's about having community links. It's about linking up. And that's what we do. We link up, we let the ladies know where they can go to get the help they need, what is available, how they can get that help, which, you know, in countries back home, in India, Pakistan, Morocco, Egypt, they're all countries that I've received, they don't have that benefit. They don't have that luxury of having that support. Now, you know, so it is education, but at the same time, it's networking. You know, I strongly believe that networking is a key element, definitely, and being able to get our ladies and men and our children educated, and also being able to get them to get the information and the basic skills that they need to flourish in life.
I think the word that you used, which I completely agree with, and that is why, you know, I've always supported the Inspiring Indian Women flag, is because if you network, if you meet people who could be like-minded, who could be suffering from all sorts of problems, and that is the key element as women. I think one thing that we did not mention, and I think as someone, you know, that, I mean, I've written musicals and plays. My last one, which I really liked, was in terms of the message that I wanted to throw out there, was the one that I did for Mira, where I look at love from different perspectives. And as women, our main job is to help other women succeed.
I think you've really hit the nail on the head. I think it's really very sad that as women, generally, we have, I don't know, it's like a distinct button to drag each other down. Inspiring Indian Women doesn't do that. Zabardast Butterflies don't do that. We bring our women up. We don't drag each other. You don't need to bring somebody down to bring yourself up. And that's one of the things that's really important in society. Women need to be less bitchy, generally, and recognize each other's qualities. And you know, for me, I have to say, I am blessed. I'm surrounded with a very good support group, wonderful 15 steering committee. I have 15 on my steering committee at the moment. I have 5 trustees, and thank God I'm blessed with women that believe in me, that believe in what we're about. And I think that's really important. I walk down the street and, you know, I'll stop a woman, and if I like something, I'll say, you know, that's a really lovely dress, that's nice shoes. It's not done these days. It's like, you know, I don't know whether that's coming from a northern background or maybe mixed.
I do think I will give the northern background full marks, because my husband's from Manchester, and every time we go to Manchester, they're ever so friendly, and I feel so nice, because as an Indian that migrated to this country 23 years ago, the first thing I struggled with was loneliness. I felt, you know, with Mumbai, a bustling, throbbing city, I'm in beautiful Sandhurst, and I'm thinking, there's nobody on the street, nobody smiles at you, there's no activities, there's nothing to do. And
you know, I used to go into the shops, and I used to say, oh my God, you know, in Manchester, you go in the shop, you hand the money over, there's thank you, there's please, there's pleasantries, there's, you know, here it was like, yeah, there's your change. They practically throw your change at you. I was like, where have I landed? Let me, take me home. You know, I used to be running back to Manchester. But now, you know, I've surrounded myself. I've learned that just to smile, just to stop people, you can change. You can make that change. You can be that change. You know, I remember there was one lady at work. I don't know, they're going to tell a silly story now, but oh God, you know, I thought she lost her smile. She's just never smiled. And I persistently, for 6 months, I thought, no matter what dirty look she's giving everybody, I will smile. This woman will one day have to smile back. And after a pleasant, you know, 4 months, we get to Christmas time, and I'm like, made a point of like, smile! We have something to smile about. And I think she thought it was a bit crazy, but I got a smile.
No, I think a smile reaches your eyes and it lights up your face, and that is a very crucial element of communicating.
You know, in our religion, we say that a smile is sadqa jariya. In other words, it's like a reward for you to give smiles, to greet smiles with smiles. So yeah, for me, a smile costs nothing. A smile costs nothing. You know, and it could really change somebody's day.
So I wanted to touch upon something else. When, as women, you want to work in the fields that you're working, whether it's in the field of creativity or writing and poetry and that sort of a field, or whether you're working with women's charities, sometimes it gets on top of you because the emotions override, and you don't know how to deal with those emotions. Jyotirmaya ji, how do you deal with mood swings, you know, the passion, the ebbs and flows of emotions?
See,
well, obviously, I'm also a mindful specialist, and I have to deal with
this. I was going to come to you in a second. Jyotirmaya ji, you were saying something?
Yes. What I was saying, that as a poet and writer, what I believe, that we give words to oppress. We are there to be the mirror of the society. We are there to empathize, to have compassion, and to put ourselves in their shoes, to understand. Like she said, suffering ennobled her. With me also, it was the same. And after suffering, it should ennoble you. And then you seem to understand their pain. So you're giving voice to them. So first of all, as Almara said, we have to be very good listeners. And we have to listen not by a mind. Don't rationalize it. Just heartbeat. Just listen to it with great sympathy, and they will open up. And once they open up, you have a story. You are a poet. So your words are very powerful. Write it down. Speak it out. I'm a motivational speaker, counselor also. So I prepare for the drug addicts my sister-in-law runs. And in Chandigarh and in Delhi, there are so many, homeless people thrown away by their husbands who marry again. Because there is a community who goes on marrying and leaving aside the older women. There is other side also, which I was shocked to see, that there were women who were actually abusing the men in their home.
Yeah, that's what Almara was saying.
Yeah. So that men were not able to open. But to me, many of them came up. Many men. That was great to me because it meant that somehow they saw a mother in me. And those told us, those boys' stories also I brought out, that it's not only violence at home. In England, I have met boys and men who have been harassed after the woman knows that empowerment, what we call, and misuses. In India, it's worse.
But to summarize what you're saying, the three things that I take from your key message is there should be empathy, there should be compassion, and there should be support for these kind of women by you as a human being.
You should become their friend.
So Almara, in your I find all the charities that you're associated with, they must take a lot out of you emotionally. And you said you're an emotional person. I am too. How do you find strength, and what do you do to hold yourself up?
Okay. Yeah, it has been a strenuous journey. I've seen a lot of things that I've not wanted to see. But mindfulness. I use a technique called mindfulness, which is something that I use as a one-to-one with a lot of my clients. It's a wonderful strategy to help you to wind down, to understand. I don't know whether any of you are familiar with mindfulness.
No, please explain briefly what it means.
Relaxation strategies. I've not been able, I also have a very busy social calendar, so I keep myself active, healthy. I like to get out, I love swimming. I do all the other things in life that, to detox. One of the things I do want to stress is I have had to reduce some of my counselling in the Corona period. The reason being there was no outlet. I think a lot of counsellors have found it very difficult because you're not able to do your normal social activities that would allow you to cut off from what you're hearing. And de-stress. As a teacher, de-stressing, I just try and enjoy life. I really enjoy life. And when I'm at an event, I am at an event wholeheartedly. Mind, body, and soul, dancing, enjoying myself. So I do use mindfulness, and I would highly recommend it. It's about reflection, relaxing, training the mind to think, training the mind to relax. I mean, mindfulness for everybody is different, and what I do and the strategies I'd use with different people would be different based on what they were actually trying to achieve. I mean, for example, I wouldn't work with somebody who's trying to quit smoking the way I would with a rape victim, or just general. There's also mindfulness just to help you to rebalance your life, to reflect on your activities. So but that's how I detail. And friends. I think
I'm actually going to say, as we approach Friday quickly, I'm counting days for when Rashmi's back, because I'm hoping that as I've met so many wonderful women over the last 2 years almost, and when are we going to see each other's face? I love to meet people, and to be constantly on Zoom, or just meet the two individuals.
I like to surround myself. We have an old saying: "You are the company you keep," and I try to surround myself with beautiful souls, and not because everybody is beautiful in their own way. I honestly believe that everybody has their own book.
Yes, and I think I remember when we started, there was a Sangeet Sandhya group that we started some time back in November. And I said to the ladies on the group chat, there's about 50 of them, and I said, it's all good to do all these Zoom ones, but when I would like to open my doors to you all, why don't you come home now? All 47 of you can come home and, sing at my house and enjoy the feeling of being with each other. And I think what I have learned from you ladies is that there is a sense of love, compassion. You want to educate and support women that are struggling. I really admire that. And I think that is the key message that we as women have to keep throwing out there. And I literally mean throwing because it has to reach someone, somewhere, who will lift another woman and tell her, you are beautiful and you can achieve what you want to achieve. The thing that we as women have to work on, other than empowering ourselves with education and self-sufficiency, is the ability to lift people up. I don't care what makeup she wears. I don't care what clothes she wears, as long as she's a good soul.
Diversity.
Yeah, and I think on that note, Rashmi, I would like to sort of summarize our conversation here today. And I'm sure people who will watch us later, which I get a lot of feedback that, oh, I saw this show that you had worked on with IIW, and I really liked the cybercrime one, or I liked the one with the female pilot. And
yeah.
For example, from you today, I have learned that you have to have the ability to be self-sufficient, to be empowered. You have to have the ability to meet a lot of women, to be stronger.
Yes.
From the pilots and the Air Force and the Navy ladies, I learned that you have to have the right support system around you so that you can succeed. Almara mentioned something beautiful right now, where she said that she has great trustees. She has people that flag her forward and don't pull her back. That is what is our advice to each other and to people that listen to us afterwards. Women empowerment is about loving each other, supporting each other. And as the poet had said, you can criticize, but learn to praise, because that's what's going to make you a stronger person. Thank you, Jyotirmaya ji.
Basically, you know, my motto is be the change that you want to be.
Yeah, be the change. And pull each other up and stand together in solidarity.
Exactly. Women, empower each other.
And our message for thank you again, Almara, for sharing your life's journey with us. And you know, I really am intrigued by mindfulness, and I will look into it and will reach out to you to understand a bit more.
Maybe my book will be coming out at Christmas, A Butterfly's Journey.
Okay, we will look forward to it, and so will we look forward to Jyotirmaya ji's book. I would say that as one of the leaders of Inspiring Indian Women, Rashmi, you will meet people that will pull you down, will criticize you, but you keep flying up high, and all of us women are here to support each other in this journey to empower.
See, the gold, you know, I have to say this, the gold, the more you beat it, the thinner it spreads. So a good woman is like a gold. You beat her out, it doesn't matter, it will spread.
Yes.
So the good message or the goodness spreads, it doesn't break. So no, we just have to be gold.
Okay, on that golden note, I would like to say thank you to every single participant and the ones that are here to listen to us today and who will listen to us later. This is us saying thank you on behalf of Inspiring Indian Women. I'm Darshini Joshi, and I'm incredibly blessed to share your life with me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us on this show. I wish you all the best. God bless you all. And hopefully we'll see you in the future and face to face.
Yes.
Just a last line that we are going to have. Yes, we are going to launch your book at Inspiring Indian Women as well, Almara. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll do that. And Jyotirmaya, do you want to share your number for people to contact you to buy the book or something, some link, anything? You can put it on the comment section anywhere, okay. You know, if you want.
It, Rashmi, I'm not very tech savvy. What I'll do, there are many free books that I'm offering in collaboration with Worldwide Global. I have put them in a Kindle sort of thing, and it's all free. The Amazon one is actually not very expensive, but that's there. And the British ones are, of course, again, they are expensive. But then I would like the free ones to be given. And there is one which is going to be like we have been talking about, centering ourselves, balancing ourselves Equanimity under any adversity, I am writing one that is the gratitude spiritual journal. Be grateful for anything that comes in your life and uplift yourself. So I'll be giving that link to you too very soon when it is published.
So
and
what
it's
you
in
can,
epistolary form. It's in letters format. It's
okay.
a spiritual journal, gratitude journal. I keep a journal, diary writing as children do, in
That's
which we, I've been, it's in a letter format. I'm giving it to Rashmi and she'll pass it on. I'm not
Okay,
very.
No worries. Rashmi, you know, when this broadcast is live, you can always put the links for
Yeah.
Almara's book and Jyotirmaya's book.
I will.
And I'm sure people can read it after.
What I'm going to do is on the Facebook, the comments section, I'm going to just post everything, whatever you want to, just share it with me on private chat. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Darshini. And indeed, special mention of these powerful women who are enriching our lives more and more. So we all got to go there, be there, and shine there. So thank you so much, Alamara and Jyotirmaya. And Darshini, you are our strength. You know, you are a very, very important, inspiring Indian woman. And we owe it to you, Darshini. We all always wait for a chat show where you are the host. And I keep on getting requests that I want Darshini to be my host. And Darshini, you have strengthened us more and more from time to time. Thank you very much for being there, part of Inspiring Indian Women. Tomorrow we have Mandy Sir with Shivani. So we have a lot of people who love Mandy Sir from Patiala. He'll be here talking and sharing about positivism and good life and good way of living. So thank you so much. Tomorrow, see you all again, 7 p.m. UK time. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Almara.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Darshini. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Darshini. What a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a great privilege. Thank
It's
you
been
very
a great pleasure seeing you all, speaking to you all, and hopefully see you all at the House of Parliament again.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.